It was 3 o'clock on Friday. Susie parked on Chowan Avenue South near 50th. Soon after she got out of her SUV, she says another car pulled up out of nowhere.
4 young men got out. One of them had his arms spread open wide and I think said something, came at me, pushed me to the ground.
She says the masked teens took her purse and bag while kicking her on the ground.
1106. 1107. 100, they're with the male in the front vestibule. It sounds like they're pushing the patients back to the back northwest corner. 1120 and 1100. The suspect male is in custody of the squad.
If you could advise Elida, we have 3 female victims in the front entry. Vital cord, gunshot, 1 critical, 1 in the abdomen.
County copy, 1107.
5120, 10-6.
10-6, 1108.
5211, County 10-6, Buffalo.
1108. 1120, 2 other units. Deputy Young is coming off the front with multiple survivors.
Ambulance can come right to the front. Repeat, ambulance can come right to the front.
Copy, ambulance to the front, 1108.
I wrote an opinion piece in the Star Tribune about a month ago that was published just as the sports were coming back online. And for those of you who have read it, it was sort of forewarning of potential risks and injuries that were likely to occur with face mask use during youth sports. And, we talked about things like lack of being able to wear a tethered mouth guard in hockey and the merits of that and the downside of that. We talked about face coverings, injuring nose, ear, eyes, or throat through unintended injuries. We also talked about in that article how the face coverings might be dislodged, thereby blocking vision or disrupting an athlete's ability to fully participate in what they're doing.
Saying, give me your passcode, give me your passcode. That's when I realized I need to give up my phone or I'm going to be killed potentially.
It's a residential street and neighbors started appearing. The suspects took off in their car. 2 came back on foot for her 2012 SUV.
1120, right, County, confirming we have ambulances on standby.
Copy, Alana's been notified. They are looking into your care, looking at least 5 injured critically.
4431, County, we're making entry in about 30 seconds.
Copy. The male says that the gun and a briefcase is in and off by the front desk. Still should be sprawled out on his stomach.
10-4, we have a rolling shield in the parking lot approaching now. Is there any more mention about that possible explosive?
As a result of this mask mandate, my son suffered a concussion. We were watching hockey all weekend, and you could see all the kids that had wearing their mask correctly were keeping their heads down. And it may not be a problem in younger youth hockey, but when you have kids checking, it becomes a problem. It is very similar to us as adults walking down the stairs with a mask on or bifocals and not hanging onto the handle. They can't see, so they look further down. When you're playing hockey, you gotta look up ice for what's coming at you. We've been training them for years to keep their heads up, so they don't end up paralyzed.
Susie carries pepper spray and has taken self-defense, but says it didn't matter. She's bruised, sore, swollen, and says she's looking for leaders to better protect people in Minneapolis.
They've got to fully fund a fully staffed police force. Citizens who are paying taxes and sustaining this economy, we're not being prected.
31, the male is saying that he had 4 homemade explosive devices. They all went off.
10-4, we see evidence of that. West glass shattered all across.
There might be one inside the briefcase by that front off that has not gone off yet.
44-1 County, yes.
10-6, 11-3.
61 County, you're riding.
2-20, 11-3.
44-2, can you confirm that everyone's out of the building?
9821.
Go ahead.
All here has been moved to your location.
I got it, thank you.
11-4.
11-20 County, 10-6.
11-4.
For those of you who've played sports, sports happen in a moment's notice and things change quickly. And what I've seen in my own practice is that what I've predicted from my January 5th article is actually gone on to occur. I've seen numerous sports injuries in my own practice that I believe are related to face coverings. There's a 13-year-old recently broke his clavicle playing hockey. Is going to require surgery to fix that. An 11-year-old tripped and fell at gym class because he couldn't see what he was doing very well and fractured his knee. A 15-year-old fractured her patella while playing basketball and required open repair of a fracture of her kneecap. So these are actual injuries that I've seen just in the last 2 weeks of athletes being injured while playing sports.
Can we get an ambulance to come to the northwest exterior door? In the northwest corner, we got one we gotta move now. Copy, let's go. 311-20, you got one delivery. 1805.
Dispatch 154 is transporting the team to St. Cloud Hospital.
Susie carries pepper spray and has taken self-defense, but says it didn't matter. She's bruised, sore, swollen, and says she's looking for leaders to better protect people in Minneapolis.
They've got to fully fund a fully staffed police force. Citizens who are paying taxes and sustaining this economy, we're not being protected.
She admits she's afraid, but feels it's her duty to warn others.
They are brazen. They are not afraid. They will act given the opportunity.
Police tell me Susie's stolen car matches the description of a vehicle spotted where other crimes were committed over the weekend, and that it's a pattern they're seeing after a carjacking. In Minneapolis,
They're going to hit you. This is why he hasn't worn a plastic face shield before. Thank you for your time. That's about all I have to say about it. See, this is just dangerous. Absolutely dangerous.
Good freezing morning, saints. Welcome, sinners. This is the Critical Christian Crowd. I am your laconic lay leader, Lon Linky, and we are live this morning in frosty, chilly. Hard to believe we're even maintaining a semblance of reality. West Central Minnesota. Man, it's cold. It is cold, cold, cold. So you gotta have a sense of humor. You gotta have a sense of humor, saints. I'm telling you, if you don't have a sense of humor in this stuff, you are gonna be in big, big trouble. So, good morning. Did you miss your stinky old fisherman? I hope you did. Well, I missed everybody. February is a brutal, brutal month. I like to remind folks who might be new to the channel, I'm a pretty transparent kind of guy. I am not your Dolly Parton 9 to 5, work 5, take 2 off, whiskey it up on the weekend. I don't do that. I work 165 days in a row for the most part. And then I take $199 off, and I stay here in Minnesota. I keep a watchful eye over my 84-year-old mother, and it's a nice existence. It's a peaceful existence. So, yeah, February can be a bit brutal. So, for all of you who don't live in Minnesota, let me do some splaining, some soda splaining. Here in the land of 10,000 lakes, the land of sky blue water, frozen sky blue water, the measurement of the 4 seasons that our good God in heaven has granted us, which is spring, summer, fall, winter, which should all be 3 months each, which is not that long to endure a particular season. That's why the good book always talks about things happening in a season, for a season. Things will then change. So you have to be prepared in season and out of season, right? Remember that one? Yeah. But it's the same sort of deal. But that's a biblical definition of being prepared in season and out of season. That's not what I'm talking about up here in Minnesota. Because unlike the other 48, because Hawaii doesn't count and Alaska doesn't count either. Alaska could be close, but we don't. Our winter season is not 3 months. No, 999, as the little short guy with the funny mustache in 1930s and 40s Germany would say, 999. No, our winter here in Minnesota this year began October 14th. And depending upon, what NASA and our good God in heaven has planned in regards to a spring, God only knows. And the counterfeit of God, NASA, is trying to manipulate the weather too. What? Man's manipulating weather? Good morning, Margaret. Nice to see you and the moose here today. Well, there they are. Yeah, for those of you who do not know that there's weather manipulation going on, stick your head outside. What a mess. I have a ton of cover since I took 2 days off. It was a whole week, so I appreciate you all being back. As I look in the chat, here's what happens when I take a whole week off. It's me and Promise Kept. The least viewed podcast vlogcast in the history of the Tube of You, Fisherman in a Box. I don't care. No, anyway. No, I forgot my thought. All right, let's get that warning off of there. It's as old Joe tried to warn us. I'm not going to do an old Joe whatever yet. It is a long, dark, and here in Minnesota, frozen cold winter. So let me get to the, I'm going to get my audio adjusted here correctly. I got too much reverbage in my ears. There, that's a little bit better. All right. So first of all, I did want to give some good guidance in the natural realm for those of you who it looks like are going to get some bad weather here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think, next week for the midsection, starting I think at Oklahoma, going all the way down into Louisiana, up through the Tennessee Valley, the Ohio Valley, and then it shoots right up to the northeast. Northeast, yeah. And it's going to be ice and cold and wind and snow. So if you're not accustomed to these iceberg temperatures and these wild conditions, and you have to know there are some rules, and they're real simple rules. I'm always amazed when the governor will make sure that everybody has a mask on, but as soon as the weather, and you can tell within 30 minutes if there's black ice on the roads, you can tell. Why he doesn't shut down the interstates is beyond me. And that thing that happened down in Dallas with the 100-car pileup, and the last report I saw, it's up to 8 deaths and close to 100. I don't know how many people got injured. It was a lot. You can go to outer space, because in outer space nobody has any accidents up there. I'll tell you where I will not go is on the interstate in bad, cold, black ice, snow, regular ice weather. Not going to do it. Not going to do it. Not because I'm afraid of my driving skills. I'm afraid of your driving skills. Your driving skills. You. I got that bony finger out there. But when it comes to driving, trust no man, as the good book says. You really can't. You take your life in your own hands when that ice is out there. And, of course, down south, you're going to get black ice before you get regular ice, because it's that rain turned to ice stuff. And as quick as that temperature goes down, the quicker that black ice will evolve. And if you don't get any snow on top of it, then you're really in trouble. Actually, snow helps. Snow, you can get some traction. Ice, you can't get any traction. None. I remember the story. I've retired from ice fishing. I don't ice fish anymore. It's so much work, and it's so cold. And it's fun. It really is. I just don't do it anymore. But I took Old Blue, my 1994 Ford F-150 4x4, lock in the hubs, out onto the frozen lake one day, and then I got caught stuck in the snow, and I actually had to lock in the hubs and to get myself out of it, which was amazing. And there was a ton of snow, a lot of snow, like a foot of snow, and I went off the beaten path and I got myself stuck. But once I four-wheeled out of that mess, I had great confidence driving out on the frozen pond in any and all weather conditions, because that old 1994, no computer systems attached to it, physically lock in the hubs. Those wheels just grip and rah, 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 rah. It's wonderful. One of the last times I was out on the lake, someone had plowed a path, and there wasn't any snow on it. It was just ice. And I went to turn around, do a 3-point turnaround, doot, doot, doot. And even in four-wheel drive, I got stuck. Because once you're on ice, there's no traction. And it took me forever to get unstuck. So if you do have to drive in it, and I just wouldn't. I mean, if it comes, a couple of days it'll be gone. It'll probably warm up down south. Just don't drive in it. Don't call your work knobs or whatever people you're responsible to on this realm, and tell them, I ain't doing it. But for those of you who can't, pack a survival bag. Because the worst thing in the world is running off the side of the road and nobody knowing where you are. Or if you knock yourself out or your phone flies and runs out of power. And that's the other thing, too. In these bitter cold conditions, batteries on your phone or your iPad or your tablet or whatever, they don't hold power. They probably have half of the battery life. I know mine do. And mine never see the elements. They never see the outdoor elements other than from walking to the box from into the studio, or from walking to the box to the truck to go somewhere. They never see the elements, but the batteries just don't hold power. They don't hold power when it's this cold outside. It's a scientific anomaly, which makes me wonder, how in the world did those outer space knobs in 1969 go from the whirling, twirling, spinning, flying, tilted, orbiting, hot molten center, bipolar, upside down, sideways, sticky water ball, all the way to the moon, which is a light 239,000 miles away, land, play a round of golf, drive a dune buggy for a couple of days, get back in, blast off the moon, and then fly back home on 8 golf course or golf cart batteries. How did they do that? They didn't. What? Are you a science denier? No, I'm not a science denier. I don't believe fairy tales. So that's that. So if you're traveling out in this stuff and it's really ice cold, you go with the essentials that'll keep you alive, and that's blankets and hats and gloves and scarves, a little bit of food, snacks, a bag of snacks. You should really pack a survival bag, and that includes a blanket or 2 or 3, and not your grandma's throw that's on the back of the couch. Go get yourself a big thermal and put it in your car. Gotta expect the best, be positive, and prepare for the worst. You really do have to prepare for the worst, especially in this stinkhole realm, right, Saints? All right. Otherwise, the prince of the air will get you. He'll get you. And we don't want any of that going on. We don't want any get you going on. All right, so there's a little education from your stinky old ice cold frozen fisherman in a box up here in central Minnesota. I think that's it on there. Yeah, that Texas thing, amazing. And some of the things that'll happen up here, and I know probably, unless you're from here, you don't understand. And I don't know why anyone even lives there, but they do. When it gets minus 30, minus 40, minus 50 below, and they do put this warning out, the winter weather warning that we got for the weather that's coming up Saturday night or tonight until Monday morning, is that your skin will, say it with me, boys and girls, your skin will freeze in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. Exposed skin will get cold. Get frostbite. Freeze solid. So your skin will freeze. So that picture of Jack Nicholson in the shining hedge maze chasing Danny. What a mess. Anyway, that's pretty true. I've never seen a frozen dead body, a frozen corpse, but it doesn't take very long. Not in those kind of conditions. Good for storing vacation injections. Oh, speaking of injections and infestations or infestations, where'd it go? Oh, there it is. 136 days to the alien invasion. What we fondly refer to as the alien infestation. 136 days away from the government-driven disclosure. The government is going to tell all of us that aliens live among us, and the mothership will be here soon, and they will be teleporting the Mahdi, the Messiah, to Jerusalem because it's Holy Land. Maybe. Look up, saints. Look up. Yeah, but I like looking at my phone, and that's down. Boy, on that intro and all the craziness that is going on in Minnesota, hopefully I can hold that thought, but I want to give witness to the testimony I just gave about battery life. When I began this offering 26 minutes ago, my battery on my iPad was at 47%. It's now at 32%. And I'm indoors. I'm indoors, folks. I'm actually in an upstairs loft, right? With the fish on the wall and the moose and Margaret. And it's warm, 72 degrees. But the battery, straight down. So hopefully we can make it to the full button today. But it's cold. It lost 25% and 34% of the program. I was going to say the number below 34, but I got enough Illuminati symbology over me that I don't want people going, he's Illuminati. What a mess. So anyway, that on the intro, and quit jumping around. Mark Cuban corrected himself, so we don't even have to do anything. And I don't get it, other than the blatant. Maybe Mark Cuban just got ahead on the communist, socialist, fascist agenda. Maybe they called him up and said, "Mark, this is the head of the table of 150. You weren't supposed to eliminate the American national anthem quite yet. We had introduced the black national anthem at the Super Bowl. We did not give you permission to eliminate the American national anthem, so please put it back in." And Mark Cuban's dumb butt, "Okay, sorry. Whatever's in my players' hearts, that's what I listen to." What an idiot. What an idiot. Yeah, but he's a billionaire. I rest my case. More money, more education, the stupider they are. More money, more education, the less common sense they have. So in the Minnesota Open, so that intro's gone. That's gone. Other than Maxine Waters ranting like a crazy lady. What a mess. There's another lifetime politician. And let me glaze over this, too, before I get to the Minnesota intro. If you're watching the witch trials, the 21st century 2021, we're going to chastise a man that doesn't even exist in a position anymore. I don't know what's wrong with you. But it is a good example of how they feed the sheep. This is just another 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 day, however long this lasts, reminder that they have control over you, me, you, us. This is their telling you that they can do whatever they want to do, and they're going to do it. I ain't watching. All right, I'm waiting for the aliens to come. So let me get back over to this. So Cuban's anthem is a mess, and the witch trials that they're holding up in D.C., that's a mess. And now let's get to the massive Minnesota mess. Good morning, Tony. A few of the Saints are drifting in this morning. Pun intended here in Minnesota. See what I did there with the drift? Snow drifted in. I'm going to drink a lot of coffee this morning. And a part of the decision, too, and as I offer to you in all of my apologies for not being here, but being spirit-led, I don't always get to do what I want to do. But one of the reasons was this. I got bing, bang, boom news, and maybe some of you saw it on the national news. I know Bloomberg did a piece on it, on this, a crazy white man in his 60s. It wasn't me. Went down to Buffalo, Minnesota, which is about 45 miles from where I live, and went in with a Glock, some extra ammo, And apparently, allegedly, he had placed 4 to 5 pipe bombs around a health clinic. We don't know what his motivation was. According to the news, he had a criminal record. He lived by himself, I guess. He was a loner, but he was a troublemaker in the community. Sounds like a continuing story we see repeating over and over and over again. Remember the guy in Las Vegas? Remember the guy in Boston? Remember the guy in I don't want to say it or I'll get flagged. When all those poor children died in that little bitty town up in Connecticut. Yeah. It's like Oswald. It's the single white crazy guy. Who did it? The single white crazy guy. Just one white guy all by himself. Okay, so that's what he was. And according to those police scanner reports, the bombs went off. But I have a friend here who owns Minnesota News Now, and I happily mod for him on his channel. And I invite all of you to go there, too, if you're interested in Minnesota news. He does a great job. And he's an independent stringer. So he'll go to wherever's going on, and he'll set up, and he's an independent journalist. That's it. And he does a great job. Minnesota News Now. And he was there at the clinic after it happened. And there's a short piece there. But just like everything else, no bodies. No people running around. It was crickets. But then he followed up and went over to the press conference. Anyway, if you guys want to follow it, you're more than welcome to do it. I don't know. It's they use real people. They use community members. I guess. I don't live in Buffalo, Minnesota. And please, dear Lord, never let them stage an event in my hometown or have it actually happen, because if it's actually happening, it's awful, just terrible, because a lot of people ended up injured, and I can't remember the death numbers, 1 to 5, I think. I can't remember, because I'm old and slow and Parkinson's runs in my family. But anyway, that was 45 minutes down the road, or the last 30 minutes down the road. It's just a little bitty Minnesota town, no big deal. But that's a mess. At the same time, I'm also keeping a sharp eye on the Minnesota Senate, the legislators, who are the other side of the governor and his collection of his big band of bumbleheads, with his Lieutenant Governor Peggy Flanagan. This mess. Anyway, the state legislature and those people are, at least you get some common sense filtered in there, and they're not happy. And unbeknownst to me, I didn't know this had happened, but the governor had opened the high school and elementary youth sports. He'd opened it back up. Said, "Yeah, you can play, And our governor Timmy is a retired teacher, union teacher. So he's got that bony finger out all the time. You listen to me. Okay, now this is what we're going to do. And you can't come up here into the state capitol. The people work up here. What are you doing? Stop it. Sit down. Take your seat. Or I'll have you come up here and write your name up on the blackboard, young man." Calm down, Timmy. So anyway, he thought he was doing everybody a favor, and he opened up winter sports in Minnesota. And you got to remember, too, in Minnesota, winter sports, big, because there's nothing else to do. And hockey is huge in Minnesota. Huge. And, of course, basketball. But he put his dumb science restrictions on them and said, okay, we got hockey, wrestling, basketball, gymnastics, diving, swimming, and cheerleading. Nobody has to wear a mask. And they went, oh, good, except for the hockey players and the basketball players. What? What? Yeah. The wrestlers don't? Well, no, that'd be silly because they wrestle. One of the first things they do is pull the guy's mask off, so you don't have to wear them. So let me get this right, Timmy, Governor Timmy. Men wrestling, and I guess there's girls wrestling too. Why? I don't know. That's another offering to come. How women's sports disappeared in America in less than 12 months. I'm a transgender and I don't care. I've got armpit underwear. What a mess. So anyway, wrestlers don't have to wear a mask. Obviously, swimmers can't wear a mask. Divers can't wear a mask. Springboard divers, high divers, 3-meter divers. Cheerleaders can't wear a mask because nobody wants to hear, watermelon, watermelon, watermelon red. Look at the scoreboard. Say board behind. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody wants to see that or hear that. Who else is on the list? It's laughable, isn't it? I mean, it's just laughable. So, divers, no mask. Swimmers, no mask. Cheerleaders, no mask. Wrestlers, no mask. Hockey players, you have to wear a mask. Basketball players, you have to wear a mask. And this edict was put out on January 1st, gave them 2 weeks to train and prepare. This is just a disaster. Look at you look down the parkway and go, oh, I can see that disaster coming. And you're going to get on the road on the parkway and drive this way? Oh, you're getting closer. You're getting closer. We'd like to warn you about this disaster. Stop. Pull over. Stop. Turn around. No, you're still coming down the parkway? And when it finally arrived, it crashed. And you heard the testimony of that sports orthopedic doctor who had written an op-ed when the governor's office was considering open up youth sports again. And he wrote a piece and said, don't do this. Don't do this. You can open them, but you can't have them wearing masks. This is my field of expertise. I'm an expert here. Don't make these hockey players and basketball players wear masks. And Governor Underpants said, don't you know who I think I am? I used to be a teacher, so you just sit down or I'm going to have you write your name on the blackboard, all right? I'll give you extra homework. Teachers. I got to be careful because both my parents were teachers and my mother's still alive. Father, God rest his soul. Developmental English. That's English for people who don't want to learn anything. So, anyway, Governor Tampon said, yeah, you're going to have to wear a mask. And because these kids are losing their mind with nothing to do, and sports was their outlet in the winter in Minnesota, they wore the mask. And the dumb coaches said, well, we'll struggle through. We'll do it. Actually, I have a clip. Hold on. What am I doing? Listen to me ramble on, blambling. Here, enjoy this, Saints.
One big difference in the return of winter sports will be that all student athletes will be required to wear a mask during practices and games, with a few exceptions. Gymnastics, cheerleading, wrestling, and swimming and diving will not be required to wear a mask due to additional safety concerns, but every other sport will need to mask up. Local athletic directors are now figuring out what's the most appropriate and affordable mask to use for student athletes and what will be an adjustment for all involved.
Kids have been wearing masks, so that's not a problem. But wearing masks while you're running up and down a basketball court or skating full speed for your 1 minute shift it's going to be a little bit crazy, but they'll have to be wearing them in practice, and they'll get used to it. I'm sure they're excited to know that they're going to have some games this winter, and we'll adjust and make the accommodations necessary to get our kids on the court, on the ice, on the field.
Another big change coming for high school winter sports in the state of Minnesota is that as of right now, no fans will be allowed to watch any games in person. Many athletic administrators around the state will be working from now until January 14th to get live streams set up to allow fans to watch virtually.
As of right now, the guidelines are no fans in the stands, which is going to be very difficult for the community and specifically for those parents to not be able to watch their sons and daughters perform. So we got to get set up the best we can with live streaming.
So a week from today is when winter high school sports teams will be allowed to practice again, and then in 10 days after that is when games will start up. But once again, going to look a little different with all winter sports student athletes except for gymnastics, cheerleading, wrestling, and swimming and diving being required to wear a mask in practice and in games.
So that turned out to be a mess. That turned out to be a great big mess. And the testimonies you heard then were from parents. The hockey parent had a young son who was skating with his mask on. Where's my dumb mask? I know I don't have to explain this to you guys. You figured it out. But this thing will slide, right? When you're moving, it'll slide. And you're either tugging at it to get it out of the way or put one on if you've got one, and then check your vision. You can't see down. You can't. Your vision is restrained. So these nonsensical politicians said, yeah, that's a good idea to play basketball and hockey, which are two of the fastest sports. Hockey's really fast. And this hockey parent, his son, concussion, checking his mask, looking down, wasn't aware, and somebody checked him and knocked his rear end out, which is allowed in hockey. I'm amazed, but I'm not amazed. I'm amazed that people put one iota, one teaspoon of faith in politicians to make any sort of decisions other than how to fix the roads. And even they can't do that. So at this point, America's got a decision to make. And state by state, town by town, county by county, state by state, people are going to have to figure out how important is this government to us? How important? I don't know. These are just shining examples of gratuitous and non-judicial decision-making. There was nothing judicious about that decision. That's a big word, mister. I use big words to let everyone know how stupid I am. Thank you. Anyway. And I think there was another testimony, too, from another parent. And I just grabbed a couple of clips. I included all of those in the comments on the intro, on the piece before this one. You're more than welcome to go in and look at the whole thing. And, of course, what was very sad was and there must have been maybe 8 to 10 of these parental testimonies of injured children, from broken bones to concussions to lacerations to asphyxiation, where they passed out because they couldn't breathe. And they're performing athletic functions with no oxygen. When did America just say, I don't need this brain anymore? And then vote those people with no brains into office so that they could govern over their lives. I don't get it. So anyway, there were tons of those testimonies from parents in Minnesota. Let's say it was 10. 8 out of the 10? Can you guess? Can you just guess? Say it with me, saints. Mama bears. Mama bears. Oh, my son, he was playing basketball and he wasn't looking at the basketball, hit him right in the head and gave him a black eye, and had to take him to the emergency room. Come here, honey. Let Mama give you a kiss. Okay. Is Dad around? Single mama bears. Attention, single mama bears. Please pick up your box of Kleenex before today's event. And no fans get to go to these games or matches. No fans. None. I played sports, and I was a professional entertainer. Without an audience, it's just a rehearsal. Without an audience, it's just a scrimmage. That's why they had to put those cardboard cutouts inside the professional sports stadiums and arenas. Because the players have to have something to play to. You have to. At least create the illusion of it. Otherwise, people won't show up. Then you sprinkle a few in like they did for the Super Vial. It's just out of control. It's a mess. Like I said, if it was a pandemic, we'd know it was a pandemic. Everything would be shut down. Everything. And we're a couple of weeks away from the 1-year anniversary of the 2 weeks of flattening the curve. That's right. We're going to flatten the curve. No, you're not. You will never flatten the curve. That's your narrative, remember? Your curve, that stupid curve is your narrative. The veil is lifting, saints. The veil is lifting. I'll give you one example of mama bears who, look at there. I glanced over. We hit double digits. We hit double digits in the live chat. All the bells will be going off at the tube of you. Whoop, 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 whoop. He's in double digits. Send the community standards squad over there to monitor his channel. Do not let him say biblical cosmology or Jesus. Sorry, I'm never going to stop saying that. So here's one for you, tube of you monitors. Jesus, Jesus, Jesus. Saves, saves, saves. Put your trust in the Lord. That ought to stick a demon in that demon mess over there. Some songwriter needs to put a Contend for the Faith song out there. With trumpets and drums. Contend for the faith, bum ba bum. Contend for the faith, bum ba bum. Dum ba bum ba bum ba dum dum da dum bum bum. Contend dum da dum bum bum bum. Big swells, big music. So some of you musically gifted people, put that together for me, will you? And send it to me. I'll play it. Contend for the faith. You got to have trumpets. You got to have a tower of power, as Huey Lewis would say. And you got to have drums, trumpets and drums. Because we all know what we're listening for. We're listening for that seventh trumpet. Exactly. Okay, where am I? Oh, mama bears. So here's what I'm going to show you. I'll stick around for this and talk over it, but it's insanity. This happened at Sugarloaf Ski Mountain. And they put 3 children on a ski lift. Now, why you would put, and it looks like, by what you hear in the piece, an 8-year-old, a 5-year-old, a 4-year-old, maybe. Sounded like 3 girls, too. Did you put mom with them to ride with them? No. Dad? Who? Dad? Who? We don't need dads. What are you talking about? No. So this mama bear put her 3 cubs up on a ski lift, and then the ski lift got stuck. So what did the mama bear do? She wanted her cubs. Now, can we wait for the fire engine and the hook and ladder to come? Because there's a road right there. There's a road right there. It's plowed. There's a road. They'll be here in a half an hour. Just calm them down. No. Jump. What? Jump. And mama bear collected 3 other mama bears, and they got a blanket so they could catch their baby cubs. What a mess. Watch this. Oh, whoops, wrong one. That's the animal worship dog. I thought that was funny. Sorry about that, Saints. All right, kids are up there. 4 mama bears got their blanket. Okay, jump, honey. Jump.
It's all right. That's okay. They broke her fall.
Broke her fall. Broke her legs. And why is the man filming? What's his deal? And apparently, of the 3 children that were up there, they sent the oldest first, the heaviest, not the 2 lightest ones. Folks. Yeah, of course you need medical attention. What, she has a heart defect too? He says, is that her mom down there? Yeah. See the road back there, Saints? See the road? There's a bypass ski tunnel. It's always got snow on it so they don't have to ski across the road. I'm sure some dum-dums do. But there's a road. All you had to do was call the authorities. And then, of course, you can hear the 2 little girls up on the lift still screaming. Logic and reason. Logic and reason. But I want my cubs. I want them now. Calm down, Mama Bear. Let's try to be logical and reasonable. No, I want my cubs now.
I think that's her mom.
It is, yeah.
See?
Do you want to get her up so she can get off?
I'm going to talk to patrol.
Okay, okay.
There's a truck right there. This was a no-brainer if there was a man in charge. I hate to say it. I'm sorry. When it's that blatantly obvious, knucklehead. All right. And the last thing on the intro of the Minnesota mess and the Minnesota mask mess is this rash, and I mean rash, of carjackings and catalytic converter thefts. Unbeknownst to me, you can chop out a catalytic converter on a car relatively easy with a hydraulic saw. It's 2 cuts down the pipe. So it's all right. And then they pull them. Why are they stealing catalytic converters? Because there's it's either zinc or plutonium. There's nuclear bomb materials in there. I don't know. There's some sort of metal in there that's very expensive that they use in a catalytic converter. And, the thieves steal them. Then they take them to the junkyards. They get the cash. They don't care. And in Minnesota, where there is no law enforcement, they've defunded the police. Remember Ilhan Akbar Omar? Justice for my peoples. Achoo. Akbar. Yeah. She and our attorney general, who are of the same religious ilk, the big gigantic animal in northern Minnesota with antlers and his limbs, the moose. Hello, Mr. Moose. And his limbs. Yeah. They don't want any law enforcement in Minneapolis. If they had their druthers, they don't want any law in Minnesota. Why not? They want their law in Minnesota. And that's coming down the parkway too, brethren. So prepare thyselves. Quit knitting them hijabs, Lutherans, Newthlans. He's dyslexican. He don't care. He says Lexdexia. I'm starting to ramble. Uh-oh. Got to be time to go if he starts to ramble. Let me tell you why I feel physically really well this morning. All is spiritually well. Always is. I don't have that to worry about anymore. Physically well in these terrible, terrible conditions. First of all, I got to have a long conversation with KJV yesterday, and it was wonderful, wonderful. She has a lot going on. Well, it's all good. All is well in her world, but it was just fun to have a long conversation with her. A little bit of Bible study, and it was nice. So that cheered me up. That was encouraging. Always nice to get an encouraging word from a brother or sister in Christ. Plutonium, thank you. Smartest people on the realm. The wisest, excuse me, let me back that up. There's a difference between being smart and wise. The saints of the subscription. So anyway, what was I talking about? Anyway, well, back to the carjackings and the big conversion that they want to happen here in Minnesota. We'll see. We will see. But and again, I'll give you another YouTube channel that you can watch, and it's called Live on Patrol, and it's two. I don't think they're retired, but they're two police officers, I think from the sheriff's department, that go out late overnight, graveyard shift, in an unmarked car. And it's like in Margie Gunderson and Lou out on patrol. They'll take you around all the parts of St. Paul and Minneapolis and there. My son used to play with the hockey league, and that coach, he was a great guy. Do you remember having to bratwurst with him there? You know, when was it? Back in 2008, I think. Yeah. It was back in. So anyway, they patrol around St. Paul, Minneapolis, Woodbury. I haven't seen them up in my old neck of the woods at Lake Elmo, but they drift. Woodbury, Lake Elmo, those are all hoity and toity necks of the Minnesota woods. So these guys stay in the Hennepin Avenue, Minnehaha Avenue. I don't know the other ones. But it keeps them busy. But they don't arrest anybody. They serve in a support capacity. They did arrest somebody the other night. There was a high-speed car chase, and it just so happened that car drove right in front of them and then pulled over and went to park, and they pulled up and got him. So anyway, those guys are fun to watch. And I love them. I really do. And don't get confused. I love Ilhan Omar Akbar, justice for my peoples. I love her too. And the Attorney General in Minnesota. There is no hate in this old stinky fisherman's heart. There's none. None. L-O-V-E. But I do know the difference between discernment and judgment. And there is no judgment. There's no hate. Do what you want to do. I don't care. I love you. And if you'll take time and show some love yourself, we can have a conversation. And I can bring to you the light and salt of my life, and you can enjoy inner peace and divine love too. I'll tell you twice. I'll tell you 2 times about it. And if you don't want to listen, okay. Go on your way. That's the other thing too. I have another biblical truth understanding that is getting very close for this stinky old slow and Parkinson's guy to get a grasp, a firm understanding on. And it is a joyful revelation, and I'm looking forward to that. And I'll share it when we get there. If you're interested, and once again, a quick disclaimer, listen to nothing I say. Seek a thing out on your own. Listen to no man. No man is good. Every man's a liar. As Christ himself said when they said, "Oh, Master, you are so good." He said, no, not one. Only the Father. And that's what we always close with. God is good. All the rest are pretenders. They're either lying or they're deceived. Anyway. That's that. Well, I think I'm done. Oh, just a little bit over the button. I think I'm done. Yeah, it was a big errand day. So, yeah, just physically felt really well yesterday morning when I got up after being, kind of in that hibernation status. Because believe me, when it gets that cold outside, you don't want to get out of your bed. And I got 2 big old thermal blankets over my big old rear end. And it's comfortable. And I got my coffee pot right next to the bed. And, I don't want to give you too many details. It's my secret place. My prayer closet. You don't get to come in. All right. I think I'm rambling. Yeah, I don't even know. And today's Saturday. So I won't... Oh, errands yesterday. I had to run errands to stock up on food in case this thing goes south. More propane in case this winter thing goes south. The furnace did go out 2 days ago, and we had to kind of Nigeria do some of that kind of rigging until the furnace guy came out and took a look at it. He got his hammer around, banged around, and said, "Okay, I thought I had to order a new part, but I don't, so it's good." And it was. So there you go. Of course, the box of Fisherman in the Box is the warmest room on the property. Always. Why? Because be still, I trust in the Lord, and all things are added. I got nothing to worry about. Thank you, Lord. All right, I feel like I'm missing something, but I don't know what it is. Nice big warm piece of fish sounds good this morning. Yeah, I think I even played that dopey dog hybrid thing. Anyway, oh, look at them all. Well, let me go on the chat quick here. I'm down to 19% battery. I went from 47% to 19 in 60 minutes. Amazing. All right. Good morning, Jen. And good morning, Tony. Promise Kep was with me from the beginning. Thank you. There's my girl, Jay-Lynn. Good morning. God bless you all. Joe Pish is in there. Joe, I hit hide instead of show. I'm sorry. He probably got angry and left. Anyway, he had mentioned something about hookers. I don't care. You just can't say the F-bomb. And here's the other thing, too, for the saints of the subscriptions, the well wrenches, all the wrenches that have controlling responsibilities in there. The name of this little offering is the Critical Christian Crowd. We want to be critical thinkers, at least. The thoughts that come in our brain, which are not our own, we want to either capture them and throw them away, or give them to the obedience of Christ. We critically think. We don't accept man's word as gospel. We don't. We critically think everything that comes in. So we want to make sure that we have an open forum within the chat. Here's what we really don't want. And we can be very kind, and if I can monitor it, I will. But you guys should know this too. If somebody gets on topic, that we're talking about Minnesota and cold and sports and hijacking cars and the NBA and that mess. I did have one other piece. I knew it. Well, maybe I'll hold it because we are going to be celebrating the year one of flattening the curve. I brought it up. Now I might as well play it for you. I got a little more battery life left. I didn't, when I was researching and searching, actually I wasn't researching, I was searching for a video piece to support this sports masking thing. I stumbled across this thing from the NBA where one of these players, one of these gigantic Nephilim, and by the way, here's something for you to Christian Ponder Saints. Matter of fact, years ago, I was traveling from Minneapolis to St. Louis, and I was in the lobby area, bar, probably having a beer, and the Houston Rockets came through the airport. And they kind of paused and gathered their bags and all that right where I was sitting. And I'm going to tell you something, folks. If you get up close and personal with an NBA team, I didn't know then what I know now. It reeks of Nephilim. Call me silly. Call me what the world says is okay. I got different eyes now. You come around any sports performer, but the basketball players are wildly tall, big. Football, not so much. I got to meet Jordy Nelson once, and I was taller than he was. And fatter. So anyway, I'm seriously, I'm going to run out of battery power. So this NBA player, when this whole cuckoo for Cocoa vid started, right? And the NBA immediately Dr. Fauci. I've been in this. I've been in virusology, medical profession for 15 years, and we have to humble ourselves because we really don't know what we're doing. Yeah, that guy, Dr. Fauci. Are masks important? No, masks do no good at all. You know, you fiddle with them, you don't wear them right. No, we're never going to recommend wearing masks. 3 years later, oh, you gotta wear 2 masks. What a mess. So anyway, when all this mess started, Dr. Fauci gave the directive down to the NBA owners, who then gave it to their teams, that there was a pandemic. And please be careful. Don't touch the microphones at press conferences. There were a couple other rules they were supposed to adhere to. This is one of the last times you're going to see a full arena. But one of those directives was don't mess with the microphones. That's another thing. I lived with a microphone for more than 30 years. And the windscreen on my microphones, you'd have to wash them or change them out. They get filthy. They're disgusting because they collect spit and you breathe on them, and you got to change them out or wash them at a professional level. But anytime you see somebody just step up to a podium, take their mask off, and talk into that microphone, and then the next guy comes up and does it, nobody's using their noggin. Nobody. Oops, look at there. He's Illuminati. Shut it, Margaret. Anyway, no one is using their brain. So, anyway, this guy, they give this directive about, don't get too close to the microphones. And certainly don't touch them. And apparently they were testing for the cuckoo for Cocoa vid, and this player had tested positive for it. But they didn't know what it was, or, wink, 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 wink. They didn't know what they were going to do. Anyway, look at what happened here. And this is about a year ago. This is March 11th of 2020. Enjoy, Saints.
Michael, we don't know what they're talking about.
No, not at all, but it's nice to see the energy back in the building here. Thunder have been on the road for the last week here, folks. And I thought the hardest part of that road trip, now this is my opinion, was the Detroit game. Second night of a back-to-back, the Clippers, you didn't play a good game against the Clippers, and all of a sudden you got to hit the road and start an East Coast swing in Detroit on the second night of a back-to-back. And we're not really sure here, folks. We're going to get some information for you as soon as we can find out. But clearly, game right now is a little bit of a delay.
So both head coaches have gone back, and you see the teams heading back to the locker room. The officials now going over to the school. And so,
and fans, due to unforeseen circumstances, the game tonight has been postponed. You are all safe. And take your time in leaving the arena tonight and do so in an orderly fashion. Thank you for coming out tonight. We are all safe.
So Rudy tests positive for COVID. They canceled the game because he touched the microphones. Then he took his elbow pads off and tossed them into the crowd, which he got in big trouble for too because he had the cuckoo for COVID. And then it all began. So I just used that as a closer. Yeah, there you go. See, look at him. He's touching everything on purpose, and then he runs away. Now, did he do it on purpose? Was he directed to do that? I don't know. I have no idea. All seems a little mysterious to me, and they sent that entire arena full of people home. I'm sure they gave them their money back if they demand it, or tell them you can come to the next game for free. But I'm sure there was no next game. Anyway, I'm way over the button now. Sorry about that. Lost half of the chat doing that because they know when I say, well, I'm rambling, they all go home. All right. Anyway, thank you much. God bless you. Stay warm out there. If the good Lord is willing and the lakes don't freeze, too late for that one, so I'll depend on the first one. I will be back tomorrow morning, but that is only if I'm led to do so. Because it's cold. Who knows what's going to go? God knows. So may the peace, joy, grace, love of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ be with you this day and every day. I bless you. I do bless you. I love you, saints. And God bless you. Old, slow, and Parkinson's. Amen. Bye-bye, everybody.
Trade this world's glory for the one that's waiting for me. I would miss heaven for the world. This world is a wonderful place, but I'm not here to stay. I'm just a pilgrim passing through, and I'll keep traveling till the time that I make it home. Gates of pearl. I gladly trade this world's glory for the one that's waiting for me. I how sweet to sing it to his face. Heaven is the place where I belong. I would miss heaven for the world. I would miss it for the world. A mansion waits for me just inside those gates of pearl. I'm glad the train this world's going for the one that's waiting for me. I would miss heaven for the world. I would miss heaven for the world. Miss heaven for the world. A mansion waits for me inside those gates of pearl. I'm glad the train this world's going for the one that's waiting for me. I'm glad the train this one's going.